Hello my friend, welcome. Today we have One Piece chapter 1081 spoilers to share with you. If you are a fan of Garp, rejoice, because this chapter will be even more hype than 1080 was. If you are a fan of Blackbeard or Aokiji, do not rejoice, because it will not end well for you. But I promise there will be a lot of valuable information, so stick around because this chapter is a massive info dump. With that being said, my name is Richard, this is my wife Claire,
Hello.
and this is One Piece of a Dream. Let's go ahead and hop right into the chapter. The chapter is titled Captain of the 10th Ship, Kuzan. And as you probably guessed, according to the first spoiler, Aokiji Kuzan is the captain of the 10th ship of the Blackbeard pirates.
That's to be expected.
Yeah, we all kind of guessed that. That's pretty much an obvious piece of info. People were guessing it could be Shiki, but let's be real here. We all knew it was Aokiji. And Admiral is, of course, going to be a Titanic commander. He should probably be the first Division 1, but we're not going to go there. Obviously, Blackbeard does not place his commanders by power. I guess that's not how his setup works, even though that is the setup for most Yonkos. At least it was for Kaido and Big Mom. Now, the next spoiler is that when Kuzan joined the Blackbeard pirates, Blackbeard himself asked about the man with the burn scar, Saul. We all know that Saul is now the man with the burn scar, because it seems that the man with the burn scar, aka Saul, is also the one who has the last road poneglyph. And as we know, Saul is on Elbaf, which is Shanks' territory, meaning that Shanks, pretty much after his fight with Kid, would have all 4 road poneglyphs. Now, the real question here is, though, did Shanks even need them? Let's be real here, because Roger told Shanks what the One Piece was, and Shanks was there when the 4 road poneglyphs were read the first time when he was a kid. He probably remembers and already knows the exact location of Laugh Tale. He probably could have went there at any time. The fact that he hasn't gone there yet likely means that there is a reason, and the reason is probably that Joy Boy is needed to activate and obtain whatever the One Piece may be, because the One Piece may be something that either has to do with the history, or maybe it is a real treasure, but you can't actually get that treasure until Joy Boy himself comes there to unlock it, like a key. See, Luffy is probably the key to the One Piece. That would make a whole lot of sense. Now, it would also make sense as to why Shanks has basically trained Luffy into being a pirate, or at least convinced him to be and acted as somewhat of a father figure to him, and basically brought him into the world of piracy to follow his dreams right after he ate the Gum Gum fruit. Like, he was cool with Luffy before that, but it was very apparent that Shanks had more goals in mind of teaching Luffy stuff about what it's like to be a good pirate going forward after Luffy ate the Gum Gum fruit. And obviously he was upset at first because he had other plans and he stole that fruit from CP9, but he had plans that involved unlocking the One Piece. We just don't know what they were. This is obviously not what he thought would happen, but once he saw that the fruit chose Luffy, knowing how the fruit was, that the fruit has not been captured by the world government after 800 years and always chooses its user as a reincarnate, Shanks, being aware of this, likely already knew that that fruit was the key to unlocking the One Piece, and if Shanks himself couldn't eat it, then whoever eats it, he's going to have to play nice to, be friendly to, and help them to find their path to obtaining the One Piece so that he can himself obtain the One Piece, or at least whatever he needs from it. You know, because when Roger told Shanks about it, Shanks burst into tears, so there may be a reason for this. Maybe there's an emotional thing that Shanks needs to fulfill in order to obtain the One Piece and be fulfilled in life. Maybe there's an ultimate goal here Shanks is trying to obtain. And it's a possibility that Shanks is gatekeeping the One Piece like this because he doesn't want anybody who isn't going to be able to unlock it to get there and stop him from potentially sneaking up and obtaining it, or maybe even just sharing in it with Luffy. Maybe that is when Luffy will get back the hat on Laugh Tale, and that is when Shanks and Luffy will both find the One Piece and unlock it and do whatever the ancient history of Joy Boy was meant to do. Now let's move on, because the next part, it's going to upset some fans and not upset them. The next part is that Law lost to Blackbeard, but he is not dead.
Yeah, he's still alive, so at least we can appreciate that.
I mean, Law is very much still alive, so there's a good chance that unless Blackbeard has learned a way to take devil fruits without actually having to kill the user, which I don't see why Blackbeard wouldn't have just killed Law in the first place. It doesn't really make much sense, because
I'm happy he's alive.
Yeah, obviously Law's an enemy, so maybe Law escaped and just lost and got beaten really bad or something like that. But if Blackbeard did just take his fruit and didn't feel like it was worth killing him, then there is a possibility that maybe Blackbeard could just steal devil fruits now from a living person, because you gotta remember, it was never confirmed that Blackbeard couldn't take devil fruits from a living person. It was just shown that he did take Whitebeard's devil fruit because Whitebeard was already dying, and obviously Blackbeard needed to kill him because Whitebeard was attacking him. So there's a chance that maybe Blackbeard's powers extend beyond just taking it from a dying fighting user. Maybe he's actually found a way. Maybe he's awakened the Yami Yami no Mi, and that's how. Maybe he can just take devil fruits from a user so long as that user is either close to death or actually dead. It might not even matter. It might just be they need a really low life force in order to steal it. So I'm guessing that we are going to see Law in this chapter at least for a minute. Now, next spoiler for the chapter is that a battle has started between Garp and his former first disciple, Kuzan. So, Garp is having a battle with Aokiji. So, this is obviously some really big news because
I'm really excited to see this.
Yeah, because the next portion of the spoilers here says that Garp has the upper hand in this fight. So, Garp is actually winning in this fight against Aokiji, which is just crazy. We all know how strong Aokiji was. Okay, so Aokiji fought against Sakazuki for 10 days, and he was shown to be able to keep up with Whitebeard, all that stuff, and we already know that Garp was obviously a monster in his prime. Garp's gotten old, but we need to remember he's not like sick and dying, so he likely still has a fair portion of his power, even though he did say himself that the cannonballs don't fly half as fast as they used to. So that must mean that when Garp was in his actual prime, Garp must have been an insane monster, which means that Whitebeard was an insane monster. The current admirals seem to be kind of pushovers compared to what they were back in the day. That is saying a lot. And this also means that if you see Aokiji as somewhat of an equal to Sakazuki, and I am sure they have both gotten stronger with time, that would mean that this pretty much confirms that Garp would likely beat Sakazuki in a fight.
Ooh,
so I am sorry about that.
Them fighting words.
I'm just saying, don't get mad at me. This is just where Oda seems to be going with this. At least in my head, I kind of make Aokiji versus Sakazuki a pretty equivalent fight. I mean, they fought on par with each other for 10 days. They destroyed all of Punk Hazard, and yeah, Aokiji did lose, but it took quite a while for him to lose, and obviously Sakazuki didn't exactly escape that fight uninjured. They were both pretty battle damaged. I mean, Sakazuki's got scars from it and stuff. Neither one of them are wimps here, and they are pretty close to the same level. There is a marginal difference where Sakazuki is slightly stronger, but really, we need to find out how much stronger Garp actually is to confirm if Garp could actually defeat Sakazuki in a fight. So ultimately, this could lead to Garp being the current strongest Marine. Does this mean that Sengoku is currently stronger than Sakazuki? That Sengoku, if he is actually on par with Garp, which is a possibility, because we gotta remember, yeah, we didn't see much impressive at Marineford from Sengoku, but that doesn't mean that Sengoku isn't actually capable of some crazy feats. I mean, him and Garp probably could have destroyed all of Marineford if they wanted to, if they went all out. We saw how strong the Galaxy Impact was last chapter. If it could do that much damage, then yes, I have a feeling that Garp could probably one-punch all of Marineford, not kill everybody, but I mean destroy the island itself. And obviously, if Garp was going to do that with all of those Marines on it, that would not be good. He would also be killing his grandson and everything else. I mean, it just would not end well. And I have a feeling that Luffy still has not matched up to Garp. I mean, this is a man with a lot of experience. We gotta remember, this man has done a lot in his life, and Whitebeard likely would have been on an equal playing field during Marineford had he not been sick and dying from some incurable disease. Obviously, yes, the characters get weaker as they age, but if they're not sick, we can't just go around and say, oh, they're all like Whitebeard. They're all having problems with their hockey, and they're all nerfed like crazy, because that doesn't mean anything. They're not going to be quite as nerfed as Whitebeard if they're not sick. Now, I'm not going to go on a limb here and just say that Sakazuki would 100% lose to Garp. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that from what the chapter is implying, that argument, which seems to be a very hot debated argument, is leaning in Garp's favor. So I know you're probably going to be upset about that, some of you, but don't get mad at me. I didn't write the chapter, and this is just simple logic I'm using. If you still think Sakazuki is stronger, you have every right to that opinion. Yeah, if you think Garp is stronger, though, good for you, because you have quite a bit more firepower now to work with. But there's always a possibility that Aokiji could have just been, that slight difference could be what's between Garp and Aokiji right now. But we do need to remember that that fight went on for 10 days, and Aokiji and Sakazuki were pretty even. If Garp is beating Aokiji after having time to get stronger as well, then Aokiji losing this fight in one day, in fact, in just several minutes, is saying a lot about the power difference between Garp and Aokiji. So if this keeps up, and Garp 100% wins this fight, or, maybe he just wins this fight up until Blackbeard shows up, because I'm sure Blackbeard is going to show up if Aokiji is there and everybody's heading back to the island. He's done his fight with Law, so there's a good chance that Blackbeard might show up to fight Garp. Garp will probably beat pretty much all of the commanders, but there is a strong possibility that Blackbeard could still end the life of Garp. And if that happens, that's going to be very upsetting, but I'm very happy.
I'm not gonna like that.
I won't like that either, but I'm going to be extremely happy that at least we got to see, before the story was over, what Garp was actually capable of. Now, one last thing. There are some very important things I want to go over here with the Blackbeard obtaining the last 3 row poneglyphs from Law situation, because Blackbeard obtaining those last 3 row poneglyphs is rather important to pay attention to, because that means that Blackbeard has now become a legitimate threat on the road to Laugh-Tale. And that also means that since Blackbeard didn't one-shot Law, does that mean that Law was stronger than Captain Kidd, or does that mean that Blackbeard is weaker than Shanks. I'm going to put money on it that Blackbeard is probably not quite as strong as Shanks yet. I'm going to go out on a limb here too and say that Shanks would probably win a fight against Blackbeard right now, but he's probably pretty close because Blackbeard did already give Shanks a scar, but Blackbeard seems to want to avoid that heat when he meets Shanks. So there is a strong possibility here that Shanks probably could beat Blackbeard, but then again, if it was that straightforward, I'm sure Shanks would have already done it since he obviously doesn't like him. Maybe there's like political stuff here, why he hasn't attacked another Emperor of the Sea and started to throw everything into chaos in the New World. I'm sure that the government wouldn't be too happy about two emperors going at it again, but then again, Luffy, the 5th Emperor, did just defeat Kaido, and Kid and Law defeated Big Mom, so maybe the world government doesn't care as much as we think. Who cares? In their eyes, I guess it's a bunch of pirate nonsense, but they do view them as a pillar of power in the One Piece world, so it's really hard to say if they actually care or not, but it really is important to try to remember here that if Blackbeard could have just been defeated by Shanks, why hasn't he done it? Is there another reason? What is Blackbeard hiding that Blackbeard has not yet been stopped by Shanks? And is Blackbeard going to end up finding his way to Laugh Tale? Because at this rate, I think that we may see him there and he really will end up being the last villain if Shanks really isn't plotting anything and Shanks doesn't turn out to be some sort of last obstacle. I don't want to say villain, but some sort of final obstacle or something like that. Then Blackbeard likely will be the last villain, and I doubt that Blackbeard will be dying here anytime soon. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. There's just so much information here. It is ridiculous what's in this chapter. That's all I got for you right now. We'll have full spoilers coming soon, and when they're out, look out for the video. It'll be out. Until then, maybe consider watching another video popping up on screen right now, and that's all I got for you guys. Peace.
Bye.